people have wasted over 5.93 million years combined on WoW, also called World of Warcraft.
Video games saved my life.
Top-notch player Clara Morgans has spent 8,472 hours on the video game League of Legends, which equals 353 days, almost a year of a person's life, battling non-stop in the Summoner's Rift.
Don Chindle
News Network presents Video Games, a Case Study.
Hello, we are with
Naruto Uzumaki II, Ulfric Stormcloak III, William Martinez,
Hugh Jackman.
Marcus Phoenix.
As said before, every player combined has spent almost 6 million years on World of Warcraft combined. World of Warcraft was released in 2004, so on an average, 600,000 years are spent. Or should I say, wasted a year.
Do you believe video games are a waste of time?
No.
Video games, they're a good way to, to expand your mind.
It's a fun way to use time that you can't really use otherwise.
They can be a good way to spend your free time to entertain yourself for a little while.
Certain games, like you take Minecraft or like Forge and Halo, when you build maps, you start having to think how everything's going to play out and what you want to do. So you become creative, you think of new ways to build things or how things will work. And then you take games like strategy-based games, strategies on how to defeat your enemy no matter what the odds are.
Oh, they're absolutely a waste of time. I know a lot of good friends that have lost many, many people to video games.
You could be going outside, enjoying the nice weather, and just finding new people to talk to. You don't have to go on computers and meet new people like that. I think it's way better if you talk to someone face to face.
Care to elaborate?
No.
Movie fanatic Roger Ebert stated,
Video games can never be an art.
but the year of 2013 can counter that opinion. 2013 was considered a golden age for video games. BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, Gone Home, what do they all have in common? They are considered works of art. These games transcended from the idea of the simple Call of Duty to the likes of literature or cinema.
Hallelujah.
Do you believe video games have an artistic value such as the likes of cinema or literature?
Yes, because a lot of people have to come together and work on the game to make it what it is whenever it comes out. And it takes a lot of writing and scripting to create a video game, along with a lot of artistic things.
Well, it takes a lot of work and effort. A lot of people to make that video game, so it's pretty, I'd say it's an art.
Gives kids ideas for maybe like a film or something, but it's things that you don't normally see in movies, or there's new ideas. And in video games, there are short films, so it doesn't even have to be a game. People do 3D animations for video games, or they make movies out of them.
I just believe that they're all violent and they all cause people to be extremely angry at themselves or at the game or other people, just for no reason.
I think they have as much artistic value as Blood on the Dance Floor, or my band fan favorite, the Slipknots.
Do you believe video games are beneficial or negative towards society?
Totally beneficial.
Well, if you have anger issues or some other type of thing, it's actually used for therapy, commonly, because it's a good way to get anger out.
Like I said before, creating new ways to think, to adapt in any situation, and then it gives you some off time and lets you release stress.
It's a good way to express yourself. You can play sports games if you like sports games. You can play violent games if you're interested in war or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use games to express yourself.
I believe that games just cause a lot of lazy people in this world. People that don't want to do their work on time. All they think about is video games, video games, video games.
These kids these days are playing their Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and they think that they can be the real soldier boys that are out there.
It's been this study that I've been doing, right? There's this kid that loves to play this game called League of Legends, right? And This kid literally like plays for hours and hours. He only gets 3 hours of sleep a day. Who lives with 3 hours of sleep? Doesn't do his work on time. Like, this is not a good student.
Many politicians claim that video games are too ultra-violent, that they cause violence in the youth.
But the fact is, and here's what's significant, Cho was able to go room to room very calmly, efficiently, coolly, killing people. In Red Lake, Minnesota, Jeffrey Weiss killed 10 people, and they found that he trained on a video game to do it. Chris, you can't do something this well the first time you do it. And the fact is, it wasn't the first time. He was in a hyper-reality situation, in virtual reality.
But did you know that these violent video games are protected by the First Amendment?
The fact is, these video games are expressive conduct. They are protected by the First Amendment. Court after court has held that.
Such as when youthful paragons of self-control are called nasty names and decide that murder would be the wittiest comeback, and then is found to have stood next to a video game at some point in the past. Then the media generally start drooling the usual uninformed questions as to whether wholesome, boyish, pretend violence has any correlation with the real world. Short answer, no.
Do you believe video games cause violence in the youth?
No.
Why?
Because it takes a lot more than a video game to cause someone to just go out there and just start beating up people.
Video games like Grand Theft Auto and Halo and Call of Duty don't train people to kill because it doesn't teach you proper weapon techniques like breathing and trigger finger and a whole bunch of things.
Like, it's not just a video game. That person obviously has prior issues with themselves. To go out there with guns and go boom, boom, boom.
If you're playing like a game that includes violence, like you're gonna be, if you want to like if you're mad at someone and you want to do something like punch a wall or something like that, you go play a game that involves like some type of violence or something like that, like you're pretty much getting your anger out on something that's like not realistic. So it's like, instead of taking it out on somebody else, you're taking it out on the video game.
This has been many occasions where like people who go out shooting schools and stuff, and like when they go look at their rooms, all they have is video games, and I believe that contributed a lot.
Yeah, you know, I really think that they cause violence. Like, kids see this on TV and they think, hey, I can just go out and do that too. My friends will just respawn in 10 seconds. There's really nothing wrong with that, right? But in actuality, they shoot them and then they're dead.
So you really think kids are that naive?
Absolutely, they're stupid.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, you can't just play my video games like that. Like, it's very mature and ignorant.
It may take a while for video games to be appreciated, just like cinema. But that leaves us to ask, will video games ever have their own Oscars one day? Will video games ever be universally appreciated? Only time will tell.
Stay tuned for our next episode, which will feature a case study on anime.
The ending of Panty and Stocking was so bad. It gave me chronic depression. Like, the actual goal of the show was for Panty and Stocking not to be jerks, not to go back to heaven, but they're still jerks. You know what? Me Socks is my waifu.
Get out.
Hot.
Almost done.
I'm baking in these lights.